Welcome to the Born Creators Podcast, the show where we color outside the lines, leave the boxes behind, and reclaim our birthright as creators of our own lives. If you're ready for a reset, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Toni, an artist, guide, intuitive channel. And today I'm here solo because this is the last episode of Born Creators Season 1. I know, right? The time flew by. I didn't really know how I wanted to close out this series because we've had so many incredible conversations really about stepping into your identity as a creator. We've talked about shadow work with Rissa Vibes. We've talked about opening your channel and accepting that you are a spirit in a human vessel with Q Joy. We talked about facing your inner critic with Chetna Mehta, finding the balance of discipline and freedom with November Rose, an incredible DJ. We went into the process of creation itself with filmmaker Kayla Robinson. And with Casey Michelle, we talked about resting, stepping back, doing less, and learning how to truly receive. So we've really covered a lot of range and we've had some really beautiful and powerful conversations. And I'm really proud of what I've created with Born Creators. It took some real inner work to even put my voice out there. This is my first creative project from my own voice that I've shared publicly. And it has required a lot of energetic shifts. It has required me to grow and be vulnerable and step out of my comfort zone. And it's really opened the door for so many other creative expressions that I'm excited to bring forward. As I was reflecting on this journey, I heard in my mind that I should talk about surrender. This final episode should be about surrender, and that's what we'll get into today. This entire platform really is about remembering that you are a creator and that you were always a creator, meaning that you have the power to shape your reality despite external circumstances, conditions, roles that you've been placed in or placed yourself in. All of that is very much true. You are a creator. And many of us are or have been on autopilot, unconsciously creating lives we don't love or even lives we feel literally trapped in. And we may blame others for it. We may feel like something is holding us back, holding us down, or we may find reasons to double down on why we can't do what we actually want to do, whether it's moving somewhere new, quitting your job, leaving a relationship that is no longer serving you, setting a necessary boundary, or starting a new venture. These are our opportunities when we recognize we are not happy, we are not fulfilled, we are not satisfied. That's when you recognize that something has to change. And often life makes it so that you get so uncomfortable, you must make a change. And then hopefully you take that aligned action finally. And that is when you step into conscious creation because you unconsciously created circumstances that did not serve you based on conditions, programs, etc. A lot of it is subconscious, to be honest. You don't know why you're creating the circumstances that don't serve you. But when you step into conscious creation, it is a beautiful rite of passage. Essentially, you embark on a new journey. You feel energized, you feel powerful, and you get really focused on building something new, on doing something different. And your old life may even start to feel really distant. Like, who was that? I don't even know who that happened to. You're suddenly a new version of yourself. And that's incredibly important this stage. But then, and it may be months or years down the road, You may find yourself feeling lost, unclear, not thriving like you thought you would because you did the thing. And you're probably very, very, very confused about it all. And I want to talk about that specific moment because it can be very painful and very, very isolating. It can be so painful that it may feel like you were never supposed to make a change in the first place. Like it was safer and more predictable before. Like you should have, not blown up your life, right? But deep down, there's no going back. There is no going back. You know how it felt in the past. And so you are in between realities. The old life doesn't work, and the new, more aligned life has not quite anchored in. And so you keep going, you keep trying, you're walking forward on your path, but you're confused. You may feel depressed, you may feel overwhelmed. From what I've observed and personally experienced, these are the moments that are calling you to surrender. That overwhelm, that feeling of not knowing what's next, it's because you're not supposed to. And that's really, really hard to accept sometimes, especially because you decided, you woke up, you know that you have incredible power to create. And so it may be very frustrating to not create in a way that feels aligned. This is not to punish you or discourage you or deflate you. It's actually to stop you from creating from a misaligned place or building something new and wonderful on a shaky old foundation that is going to crumble. Perhaps you've been building in an energy of avoidance. You don't want to feel the pain of the past. And so you'll do anything you can to step around that. Or you've been trying to prove something to others or even yourself, coming from maybe a wounded perspective, a wounded energy. Or perhaps you're still operating from programming that you took in from the external world that isn't really you. So that lost, uncomfortable feeling is telling you something. It's saying, please pause. It's saying you need help. And the help you need comes from beyond your ego, your mind, and your human self, in my perspective. That's when we're called to remember that we're not only creators, but co-creators with Source, with the universe, with God, with our higher selves, with our guides. It doesn't matter what you call it, but it's beyond you. It's beyond you. We're not doing this alone, and we never were. So, as incredible as it is to wake up to your power as a creator, you must also remember that there is an entire universe, an entire force field of energy, an entire realm beyond this often confusing earth supporting you and wanting to guide you towards what will truly align with you as a soul. As humans, we have minds that can only see so far, that can be very linear, very logical, very much referencing the past and what is known, what it's seen before. But, and this is very important, our higher selves, God, Source, can see the infinite far beyond what we can see. And the possibilities are actually endless. And if you feel in your body this feeling of like that's literally not true, right? It's because we're human. But ultimately, there's a vaster reality that we're not plugged into, and we don't need to be day to day. So when we hit that wall, when nothing is working, when it feels like you've tried everything, you're doing everything you can, and it's just not flowing, it's not punishment. It's not punishment, it's redirection, and it's an invitation to surrender and leave room for God, leave room for the Creator. Because that's where the magic and the miracles beyond our human understanding can actually happen. So, as powerful as we truly are, and you know, I've been saying that in so many different ways that we are powerful, it's so important to also remember that we need help, to recognize and remember that we have help available to us, but it requires that we surrender. And I know it's scary. It's so scary. Especially when you have a certain type of identity around making it happen, making it work. I'm looking to my fellow Black women. We know how to survive. We know how to make shit shake. We know how to keep going. But we know when we've hit that point of surrender. And I must say, I've experienced several surrender moments, and I'll share some of them with you. One of them being when I was trying to hold on to my fancy tech job for the perks, for even the ego boost. But then I had to surrender to the truth that it was draining me and I needed to leave for my health and my well being. It was a surrender moment when I was living with family to save money and reset after quitting that tech job. But then I had to accept that for my peace, for my spirit, I needed to move into my own place again. And relatedly, when I started my consulting and design business after taking a wonderful sabbatical that gave me some autonomy and creative expression, I had to ultimately surrender to the fact that it wasn't sustainable financially. And it would be better for me to get a W-2 job again. And it was hard because my pride was wrapped up in doing it my own way. I was very attached to not working in a traditional environment again. But it became very clear that I had to let go of my plan because it wasn't working. And when I did that, so many blessings and aligned miracles just came in. And I'm speaking from a place of knowing what comes on the other side of surrender. And I'm so grateful to have that knowing because it comes in waves and it comes in cycles. And I'm in another surrender moment. And thankfully, I'm able to recall that surrender is not a death, which your ego can literally make it feel like it's the end. It isn't. It's the beginning of something new. Surrender is where the ego steps aside to allow divine intelligence to flow in. It can be so uncomfortable because we have to let go of how we think the story is supposed to go. And you know you're at a point of surrender when you can't just power through, when you can't just fight harder and push forward and grin and bear it. No, you're at a breaking point. And it's so important to know when you're at that ending. And the only answer is to get still and listen. And truthfully, when you get still and you listen, what you might hear may not be what you wanted to hear. Ask me how I know. But it will be liberating because it comes from the depths of you. It comes from your truth, from your soul, not from your ego that is very attached to the status quo or your comfort zone, even if it's stifling you. So, this is how you're able to receive and get guidance on your next best step to take. This is how you consciously create with higher wisdom. And I wish everyone who's listening all the best on their path. May you tune in to what you're being called to do, even if it makes no sense. Just take the first step. Take the first step and see where that leads to. Then take the next step. It's this incredible, sometimes frustrating spiral upward. And it's the work of our lives. So remember, surrender is not giving up. It's allowing God, Source, the Creator, in to steer you to higher ground beyond your human understanding. Thank you for tuning into Born Creators this season. Creating this show and this platform has been so deeply rewarding, and it's opened me up for so much more. And I'm excited for all that is to come. If any episodes from this season have inspired or activated you in any way, please be sure to share it with a friend. You never know what these conversations could spark in someone else. If you want to keep up with Born Creators Project, you can follow us on Instagram at borncreators.project. And as always, remember, you are a born creator.